All right, lesson 4. This is actually take 1. That's what Sancho told me. So let's go for it and try not to do a take 2. What do we want to do next? A lot of times I do like to add darks kind of early. Add in the sky and maybe your darks. Kind of thinking tackling the wave now. Let's get something a little more concrete down just with our darks, and then maybe see what I feel like later. You can bounce around as an artist. We have the colors already mixed, but one of the things that does help us out is if we do know how dark we're going to get, that we can make the transitions between if we squint our eyes, our lightest and most brightest area is the sky. So if we put in our darks, then everything else we can transition and fudge a little bit to create, to get back to our light, so things look congruent and harmonize well together. I think I'm going to switch brush. We go to a flat synthetic. And
why are you doing that, Chief?
I think I'm going to do that, Sancho, because when I do go with my darks, and mentioned this in the last video, but typically I want my darks to lay flatter. That's just my own personal opinion. And with your synthetics, you don't see quite as many brush strokes. The paint doesn't pop up. Paintings are not only 2-dimensional, they're also 3-dimensional. Lights hitting down, and from here, I don't know on the viewer, but I can see the brush strokes that I have in the sky. And that makes it pop out a little bit. Even the slightest, if you're doing impasto or just painting, like knowing when to, the darker paint, you can lay down thinner. It's just a rule of thumb. It's just my rule of thumb, Sancho, that I can lay down thinner and then build up the paint to the highlighted areas.
So it goes to the texture.
It goes to the texture. We're talking about a little bit about texture, yes. Mm-hmm. That's a good art term. So let's lay down a little bit of these darks that I had mixed earlier. Just going to the darkest dark that I mixed earlier. Notice I do know that I have a highlighted area around in here where, you know how the wave crest starts to crest over and it gets lighter because the water gets thinner and the light shines through it. It's a lot of scenarios, and I'm not a scientist, Sancho. But just I put my brush in the mineral spirits and wiped it off and went into my paint to thin it out a little bit. It doesn't need to be as thin as what I was doing here. But I'm really just going to tackle the places that I see some of these dark areas. Even on the side where it might be a little more blue, I might just even go ahead and hint that it is darker, because I can always come back over with a lighter color for sure. I know we have some darkness down in here underneath the foam. Even, I know we have a lot of transition stuff going on. I'm gonna hit that same color in this area. And since it's thin, there is a reflection of the foam or the crashing wave coming down. It is lighter here, but I'm still gonna go over it lightly. Like, that's really thin paint. If I wanted to wipe it off, I can wipe it off. I'm not laying it on thick right now because I'm gonna be painting a little bit lighter on top of it. And whatever you paint dark, if you paint a dark stroke and you paint light stroke on top of it, it's gonna have a mixture in between. Like that color won't be as bright anymore underneath. I can even come out and I can even see some of the transitioning out of the wave, like some of the dark stuff going on. Maybe I want to hit that now. A lot of that's like some of the zigzag, picking up your brush, stopping, picking up your brush, stopping moments. It doesn't have to be this green, but that foam, like I'm just darkening it up for y'all's the viewer. Let's see. Can hit or miss some of these areas. And I'm still using this dark color, although some of these colors could possibly change later on, or I'll paint over them. So that's a good, I feel like that might be another good stopping point, Sancho.